Well, an old saying, like mother, like daughter, a new study has proven this is so true. It's found that if your mother is constantly toying with new diets, chances are her eating habits are going to eventually rub off on you. With tips on how to create a positive body image this morning, I'm joined by Danielle Miller. Good morning, Danielle.
Good morning.
When you do have mothers really playing with diets, how big and how dangerous is that influence?
It really is. We so often are quick to criticise and critique the media, which is very important because we are bombarded with media images of women. The average young person today sees between 400 and 600 images that define beauty. However, we've got to realise that as parents, we are also hugely influential, and if a mum's forever dieting and lamenting the ageing process, then that certainly does rub off on their daughters. Recent UK study has shown that up to 93% of young people say that their mother is a huge influence on whether they choose to diet and engage in excessive exercise, and it's really concerning.
And I guess if a young girl, a teenage girl, gets quite paranoid about her weight and her diet, this becomes a huge issue. So what are some of the warning signs?
Yeah, some of the warning signs that your daughter might be taking her healthy eating too far would include things like dramatic weight loss, excessive exercising where they're really very focused on it and upset if that gets disrupted, social withdrawal, fixation or unusual food preferences. It can also affect their general health, so things like insomnia, fatigue. They're all warning signs and I guess red flags that you need to be mindful of.
On the other hand, we hear obesity is such an enormous issue in this country, and young kids are now potentially experiencing potential heart attacks, diabetes. So where does obesity and potential anorexia fall in?
Yeah, look, we do hear a lot about the obesity crisis. I've got to be honest, I don't see it. I work in schools every week right across Australia. We work with 20,000 girls a year. I don't see it. What I do see is a generation of young people that are incredibly anxious around body. Mission Australia recently conducted a youth survey and that showed that body image is still the #1 concern for young people. I would argue that a lot of that anxiety around obesity is being driven by people with perhaps other agendas like drug companies. It is important, of course, that there is a balance and a healthy message, but I don't know that this focus on cutting back on eating and excessive thinness is a healthy thing either. Our body size actually isn't really an indication of how healthy we are either.
Indeed. Well, listen, terrific information this morning, and Danielle Miller, thank you very much for your time.
Absolute pleasure.
Okay.